Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me is Sridhar Chityala. After a hiatus of a few weeks, he was traveling, I was traveling. Finally, we have settled down relatively comfortably at different places. Let's now welcome Sridhar Chityala. Sridhar, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. A very important question today.
Namaskar ji, very happy to be here. Always happy to be with you, and we have great time working together.
Yes, indeed, sir. It's a great chemistry. Sir, I'm going to jump right into it. Is Trump having a mental ailment? And to aid this discussion, we have a slide deck. We will load it whenever you want us to, sir. Let's go.
Let's load the deck, G. And I think we have phrased the question because there is a lot of rumors going around and conspiracy theories, and is Trump mentally stable, etc. Well, I think we'll try to answer the questions as we look at the various activities that have kind of taken place over the last 2 to 3 weeks. So the art of winning is what President Trump calls it. And Fox has put a beautiful kind of cartoon, and we'll start with that cartoon. Yeah.
Next one, please. Yeah.
Okay, where are we today? Wait a minute.
So we are going to go skip to that cartoon. Just give us a second, sir. It's there. It's tucked away at the end. We're going to do that, and then we'll come back to this. This one?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So he calls the art of winning and the art of losing. Okay. What is the art of winning according to him? End men in women's sports, secure borders, end diversity, equality, inclusive type of programs, prosecute the criminals who should be behind bars. China-UK trade deals, which started with this big tariff war, is moving forward. The UK trade deal is done. And he has basically said that, high tariffs has to come down. Again, mass deportation programs, and then ending wars. Wars cost money. This has been his kind of a thematic, and he calls his art of winning in the presidency that exactly opposite you see on the other side. If you look at the way some of these things are being rolled out, he is beginning to execute in each one of this. Many may agree, many may disagree, but the fact is that he is moving forward in his own chaotic manner in terms of putting to practice his art of winning formula. Next.
Let's go back to slide 2, please. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Sri, what we'll do is we'll finish the cartoons, then we'll come to the first slide, G. Okay. Because it sets the context very well, and then we go. So,
you just want to go back to all the cartoons? Yeah.
Yeah. We finish and then we come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did he say? He said, "Hey, I'm going to bang this guy with a heavy mast, and that's tariffs, and it's going to hurt. And he looks fine to me." This is his contrarian kind of approach. He says he looks fine to him. That, in other words, tariffs look fine. Why are we kind of beating the hell? He may die. Okay, who is on his deathbed. So this is his. And then the next slide. Put it simply, why should the public pay for all these things? This has been his question. Why should we? It's complete BS, bullshit, right? Why should the public pay for all of this? Wars, this centralized programs, many things that we listed, even for the illegal immigrants coming in, we were funding it. So he's asked the question, why should we kind of pay for this, especially the public with the taxpayers' money? The next slide.
Before we go to the next slide, let me explain to you, those of you who don't understand this logo. This is public broadcasting, I think, system, if I don't, I remember correctly. And this is a PBS. It's a public funded free channel. One of the most anti-Trump, anti-right narratives. It's extreme. I mean, I am just like, shocked that I used to listen to this on my way to work 20 years ago, sir. I am reformed. I've moved the needle to the center. This used to, now it puts out pure garbage. I have seen some obscure Khalistanis coming and pour vitriol here when there was no Khalistan concept. I mean, talk about 8, 9, 10 years ago. These guys are nothing but crap. These people need to be shut down. This is taxpayer money, and I'm pissed as hell. Next one, sir.
Public broadcasting service. It is an intersection of the woke and the jihadi agenda. Okay. what is your greatest fear? As this character which you see on the right is nothing but represents that, woke jihadi mix. So what is your fear? The answer is that Trump's policies are going to succeed. So they're not worried about any of the other factors. They're worried that his policies may eventually work and succeed. So this is the kind of the context in terms of what his art of winning strategy is, what are the specific drivers, what is the battle that he's having internally in kind of United States between, judicial appointees, law enforcement appointees from the prior regime, plus the policies that he's trying to roll out and resistance to the implementation of the policies. And while the others are in progress, the biggest agenda that he's focused on is in a direct manner, the tariffs, but in an indirect manner, the looming debt, the kind of mind-boggling debt that is spiraling out, and the interest cost that is beginning to take its toll and will take its toll eventually on the US balance sheet. So this is the whole kind of a game plan. And then we'll look at some of the strategic themes, and also we'll answer some of the questions if it is, because there is a fear that has, especially amongst the Indian community, whether he has abandoned India and whether he is, aligning with opposite forces. Now we can
yes, indeed,
back.
Sir. So I'm going back to the normal slide deck now. Let's go back to slide 2. The first one is the US-UK trade deal. Sir, 1 minute per bullet. That way we can go through many of these bullets, sir.
Okay, US-UK deal. Where are we? The deal is done. United Kingdom has given access to many areas such as beef, agriculture, and other kind of products, opening up the market. There are two other segments. One is autos. The autos will come into United States, but it's a two-tier tariff approach. I think the one is 10% and the other is 25%. The 10% base tariff is still prevalent, and that probably will change. But UK has agreed to repeal more than 300 kind of unwarranted tariffs that are present in the system. So I think that was the first deal, an easy deal, which it did, and markets gave a thumbs up. That is what I said, markets, which is agriculture, beef, and ethanol, all kind of unwarranted non-trade relief items. The reciprocal tariff rate of 10% stays until, which is now in effect, until further refinement takes place. Okay, where are we today? This is the Section 232, which is a specific kind of a deal, especially on autos and a couple of other factors, which is namely steel and aluminium. United Kingdom has agreed, again, to work with United States to make sure that there is not a dumping of aluminium, the detriment of US interests. That's also been agreed between US and UK, which was easy kind of deal. So that's why the first deal came from UK. And markets have responded positively. Markets today, as we speak, in United States are as at the time we started the year. Remember, we were going down somewhere between 20 to 30% market slipping, but it's back to where we started the year. And we can expect some more positive momentum as we move forward. Next slide.
Sir, 1 second. Sir.
The GCC deal, that is Gulf Cooperation Council, or the Gulf Cooperation countries, which includes Saudi Arabia, which includes Qatar, which includes UAE, the largest countries within that GCC conglomerate. So what you see here, one of the largest trade deals ever that's been done with the region. Okay, just on the investments, we'll start with the deals, which is commercial buying agreements. 200 billion in US UAE commercial deal, includes defense equipment, includes technologies, include some of the kind of engineering, heavy engineering equipment, surveillance. So there's a huge deal that has been, from Lockheed Martin to a number of other institutions. You will see that the deal has been done. Saudi Arabia has committed 600 billion in investments. We touched on this across a number of sectors, including energy, technology, and sciences. So Saudi Arabia has also put in $600 billion. Now comes the Qatar deal. What we call as the trade exchange or economic exchange construct. This is usually Saudi are number one and the UAE are number two. Now we have flipped the role. Qataris have committed $1.2 trillion in terms of economic exchange agreement with Qatar and $240 billion in commercial and defense deals. Very similar to UAE and very similar to the Saudis. You find that there's $1.2 trillion of investment and there is $250 billion of commercial deals. So between UAE and Qatar, $500 billion worth of commercial deals. Now, you can ask the question, therefore, under this kind of an agreement, would Trump be saying, okay, guys, I'm willing to do business with you, provided you fix some of these issues, but I'm willing to do a deal with you. Why not? Because he needs money. We touched on the point, which we'll cover more, that we touched on the point, US needs money. At the moment, it is bleeding. And the only group of countries who have come up with this kind and this level of investment are these three countries.
Sure.
Okay, who are all involved? Alphabet, Amazon, DataVolt, Oracle, GE, Palantir, Lockheed Martin, Jacobs, Bechtel, Franklin Templeton, which is on the investment side, and then Boeing, GE Aerospace, Northrop Grumman. They are all doing deals with Qatar on both defense as well as aerospace. UAE, very similar in terms of the agreements that's been done. There's a huge shift taking place on the whole kind of the technology sphere and technology kind of platforms, setting up centers in that region. It's a very big shift. This could also see movement in family offices, single and multi-family offices, because this level of investment is going to spawn other types of collateral investments, and we may be seeing a move of the single family and multi-family offices moving to the specific region, shifting away from traditional centers such as Singapore, London, and Hong Kong. Okay, Arab values business leaders who can do the deal. And has Trump prevailed? Well, the Trump has prevailed in securing the most tangible commitment in dollar value and investment into United States. It's a very big tick for him. This would be, I call, the second tick after the UK deal. So what does this mean from a geopolitical implications? None of the people are going to like it. None of the people are going to like it because the reason is this is not what they wanted to see from the Trump era. First, Syria gets recognized. That is the present ISIS regime. The guy who ran ISIS, who was wanted, he is the guy who is running Syria now with an ISIS leader. Mind you, this guy was received by the French President Macron. And now you have the recognition of Syria means this. So question was asked to Marco Rubio, does it mean you're going to kind of waive and lift all restrictions on Syria? So he came back immediately and clarified, no, not all restrictions. We'll still keep an eye on some of the excesses and other things. But the fact that there's an endorsement that has come from Trump that he recognizes Syria, go back to 2017 to 20. Okay, he fought ISIS. He fought ISIS right across, including in Syria. Today, he says he recognizes. Okay, now, he also wanted to go and have an independent venue meeting in Saudi with Putin and Zelensky. Didn't happen. Putin is paying coy and is not making any progress on the Vladimir Putin front. Now, very similar or much stronger than India, Israel is holding its sway on Gaza. It says to Trump, you can come, but there's nothing that I'm going to do. I'm preparing for a mass invasion back into Gaza to completely eliminate Hamas as a threat for the survival of Israel. So we can expect, so that did not happen. Okay, Iran deal remains elusive. It remains, and again, he was exactly opposite. Remember, Iran deal was stalled after Obama started the discussions. Then Biden restarted it. And now you find Trump supporting and saying, I want to bring Iran to discussions and I want to have discussions around their nuclear ambitions. Iran said, no way, I don't trust you. So that has also kind of paused. Very fluid situation in the Middle East. Is a very important player who has put in a significant amount of money into United States, but who has controlling power over three important constituents: Taliban, Iran, and Hamas, and Hezbollah. Who is it? Qatar. Exactly. Many of them have footprint in Qatar, officially supported by Qataris. So now you have to read between the lines. These guys look very favorable, having received, the biggest deal from the biggest country from an economics point of view in the region. So this geopolitical is not playing tune with many of the traditional constituents who have supported President Trump and the Republican Party. It's interesting to see how the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans kind of perceive this, because this is not the agenda that they had in mind, but this is President Trump. Chaos and unpredictability at its best.
Sure.
Okay, now US-China tariffs. Why there is hot and cold with regard to US-China tariffs? It went up to 140 by 150%, 175%, even 200%. And then suddenly there is a cool off. There are two reasons. First and foremost, many industries in the United States are reliant on Chinese imports, either as intermediate constituents or components, or for the whole industry and services to work. United States retail economy is about 8.4 trillion, the largest in the world. And if anything happens on the import front through tariffs, it's not just a question of increase in prices, but it could also be impairment of supplies. It can choke the consumer segment and the middle market segment of the industry, which technically and traditionally have been, especially SME, is the constituent backbone of the Republican Party. So they have sent alarm bells ringing to Trump and say, don't be stupid and don't okay, heavy industries is fine, but if you bring it down to this 8.4 trillion, you're going to choke the US economy. Of course, China is already choked with excess factories, excess supplies. We have covered this in one of the previous prior DGI programs. So therefore, is now soft pedaling. And the trade war has halted close to $600 billion of inflow of goods and services. So what do? They meet in Geneva, and you have the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and the trade representative meeting, and they have paused the tariffs for 90 days. The Chinese equally recognize that they have a problem, but their emotion and ego would not make them accept and concede they have a problem. This is one of the reasons why you hear this grapevine news that there is a coup attempt and there's an attempt to get Xi out of the way from the abrasive policies that he's kind of pursuing. So whether that happens or not, this dialogue has at least put some hold in terms of the market movement, that there is a possibility for a deal, and the deal may eventually be around not this zillion%, but probably somewhere between 20 to 25 kind of a percent. And they agree that the discussions must continue and there must be a pause before the resumption begins to happen. It's very interesting that to a Fox interview, President Trump said, this is what he said, if you want to believe. He said, we are in trouble. China is in trouble, is in deeper trouble than United States, and we need to kind of help them out. This is the guy who about 2 months ago brought tariffs and was accusatory, I would say rightly, of the Xi's policies. Next slide.
Sir.
Okay, now we come to the famous discussion on US-India, because the last chapter, because, China is a big deal, but India in a political context to the Indian audiences is very relevant. And the question that is asked is trade deal. What did Trump say? I'm not in a hurry to make the deal. Indians are full of tariffs, and, I'm sure we'll work this out. They have come to me and said they will surrender and give 100% tariff. They will eliminate 100% of the tariffs. So Jaishankar, Honorable Minister for External Affairs, immediately said, hey, the deal is on, nothing is agreed, and the discussions are ongoing, and there's no decision on anything as yet, which has been the policy of the Modi administration or Modi government, be it on the strategic side or the geopolitical side, and as well as it relates to Pakistan or as it relates to trade. So now, as far as Trump is concerned, he's ready to cut the deal. He knows he will cut a deal with India. He knows he can negotiate. In the meanwhile, this drama goes on. And as we speak, a trade team led by Piyush Goyal and his entourage are in Washington, D.C. Day one is complete. They will 17th for 4 days. They have these trade discussions, and they are targeting a deal early fall, somewhere September, October. So this moves on within that context. So what is the they believe that they have a framework. What is the other salvo that he has fired? His fired is, hey, Tim, I have a problem with you. This is Tim Cook, Apple CEO. Why are you making phones? Why are you making phones in India? Okay, you should be making phones in United States. Yeah, very simple economics, I think, which they showed the mirror to President Trump. India gets somewhere close to $45 profit per phone manufactured in India. Whereas a phone sold in the United States and Europe, the profit is north of $250 per phone. So this is what was shown. By manufacturing in India, you still have the services in the United States. This is the profit pool that is being created. Guess what? Mr. Warren Buffett is making tons and tons of money for his Berkshire Hathaway on 3 transactions. One transaction that he's making money is on Apple phone. So this was shown to him, and I think his ego is offended. So he's now rattling the cage in terms of telling Apple, hey, why are you moving? Whether there is also a potential negotiating point by the Chinese, because the Chinese are big losers when the manufacturing shifts, from part of the manufacturing shift from China to India. So in summary, if you have to conclude, we discussed the deals, we discussed his winning strategy, but where he is stuck within the US and where he is stuck around globally is that what we are witnessing is a geopolitical chaos as a result of this deal, plus some of the political ramifications as a result of undercurrent and the prior wars that you can see, be it Middle East, be it Russia, Ukraine, be it India, Pakistan, be it what you call Iran and Yemen, the Houthis. Houthis have gone quiet. Many of their equipment have been taken out. Houthis have gone quiet. Syria, which was another war footing, has gone quiet because they have a deal. Well, we still have trouble to be fixed in the Israel and Israel-Palestine as well as Lebanon situation. That has not been. And all these deals and the discussions that are going on is only making it much more chaotic in terms of the geopolitical, while he tries to tackle the trade issue.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's take a few questions now. We have a few questions here lined up. Let's start with Shashikant Saxena. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Shashikant Reddy wants to know, before elections, he said he will support India. After elections, he's equated Pakistan with India. Why does USA love this hider of Osama?
I think one has to take into factor that just as United States has advocates and has a proximate relationship with Trump. The other side of the coin, whether you want to call it broadly the Islamists, broadly the people from the Middle Eastern countries in conjunction with the Turkey and Pakistan, whether they've kept quiet or they've also worked recognizing you have to work with Trump and you have to give him what he needs, and so that at least their voice can be heard. So what you are witnessing is a manifestation of that. I'll also give another example. If Mike Pompeo was today the state secretary of state, the situation could be slightly different. Remember that Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State. Marco Rubio was approved or signed off in the Senate. His candidacy was approved by a vote of 66 in favor in a 95 Senate, with vast number of Democrats voting for him. So he has historically worked on both sides of the aisle. So Pakistan can use, or some of the Middle Eastern nations can use the caucus to make Rubio hear their views. That is why you are seeing this, peddling one side versus the other side, because of the influence that Marco Rubio can bring. And he does listen to some extent, because he was the first choice, if you recall. We have covered this, approved, and he was also Trump's man.
Nitin Jain wants to know, sir, since Bharat-Pakistan war, which has shown the Indian weaponry in limelight, it seems Trump is acting against Bharat. Is there a small crack in Trump and Modi's relationship?
None. There is no crack in Modi-Trump relationship. I think I gave maybe indirect or long-winded answer. Marco Rubio is going to hear both sides of the coin. Go back and study. It was Marco Rubio who went to Trump. Who went to Marco Rubio? My guess is Turkey and China. Went to,
and Qatar too, sir. Qatar too.
Yes, but Qatar went to Marco Rubio. But who are the most influential players? China and Turkey. They are the most influential players. I don't know whether any of the programs have covered, Sree, or you have covered. There was this perceived explosion, and either a nuclear explosion was conducted or a nuclear device is exploded, and there was this 4.0 Richter scale effect felt in the region. And this message was pushed very hard into Rubio, which prompted him to go to Trump. IAEA subsequently has confirmed there was no radiation threat and there was no nuclear explosion, all smudged and washed away under the table. So somebody pushed the wrong barrel, and incorrect information was used, and Trump was persuaded to make the call, to which Modi and Jaishankar politely heard, but they came back with a statement, which is to say, we are not listening to anybody, we are acting on our own. So some of these things behind the scenes, which people kind of can't read between the lines, or don't have that information, or don't have access to that information, can read and conclude incorrectly. But this is how geopolitics works.
Naresh Neelakantan says, are you seeing President Trump focusing on business instead of US national interest as a leader of the world economy? Your views?
Is make America great again. Very clear. Make America great again is his policy. He doesn't care whether there is a problem in the NATO region or whether there is a problem in South Asia, whether that is, unless it is kind of a major disaster looming. His focus all the time has been United States. It's not about help, it's about money, and it's about business deals. That is President Trump for you.
Sir, he announced, I think, a 5% tax on remittances out of United States to India. That's the question Chaitanya wants to know. How will this affect India? It actually affects those people who are sending money, because we have to pay the extra 5%. It doesn't affect India in any way.
Okay, let me give a pragmatic answer, right? Trump is asking, hey, you go to a bank and you do an international remittance, you're prepared to pay $40 or more on a transaction. Then you go to, I don't want to mention the name, some of the other remitters. If it is below $1,000 transfer, you're paying as a profit to him. You are earning money in United States. There are tax incentives and tax benefits depending on your income slab. I'm saying to you, if you spend here, you get the benefit. If not, if you're going to send it out, it's of no economic benefit to me, though I'm creating the job. But I've given you an incentive on the tax structure, so I want 5%. That's his argument. You're prepared to pay 3%, and if you're prepared to pay a higher percentage to your bank in terms of the remittance, I'm asking, I'm creating the job, I'm issuing the visa to you, I'm supporting, I need 5%.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Vignesh Prabhu. What's the logic behind appointing 2 jihadists in the White House?
Well, I think that it's very simple. I told you that all this is about political funding in United States. They pay whatever is the money, they get in. They say, we commit this much to the party for your re-election. We support your policy. But on an interfaith basis, we are asking a seat at the table. We are not the only people influencing, but we want to have a voice at the table. Okay, you paid the money, you're going to vote for me, and you have given me this stuff, I'll give you a seat. That's it.
Thank you so much, Sridharji. That was a wonderful conversation we had today. And viewers, I hope it has cleared many of your doubts. America has a looming interest problem that it needs to solve. That's why all this scrambling going on. Yes, in quid pro quo, you will have to make some allowances, and that's how I see it. Thank you once again, Sridharji. We'll be hoping to make this thing a regular affair on Sunday evenings with you. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you. And we'll see you on next Sunday.